dubbed it Liberation Day, and you wrote in reference to that the only thing that Americans had been liberated from were trillions of dollars in investments. Do you think he understands the impact that it could be having on regular Americans?
I think he does.
But he's still doing it anyway, in your view?
President Trump and I had many long conversations about trade in our 4.5 years. I strongly supported our administration's policies on trade, including the get tough policies with Mexico and Canada that resulted in the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, the largest trade agreement in U.S. history. But we were well on our way. We'd renegotiated a trade agreement with South Korea. We were well on our way to a new trade agreement with Japan, with the UK, even the EU was in discussions. But it was all based on using his instinct that tariffs serve the American economy to bring our trading partners to the table to open up markets.
Trump's first vice president hadn't been saying much, as his former boss that he used to lovingly gaze at while he barked has been dismantling the country. So he sat down with Caitlin Collins to pause, hesitate, and struggle to criticize him.
My concern now is I see the president following more of what I think has been his historic view, that at the end of the day, a certain minimum threshold of tariffs on all goods coming into the country will serve the American public and our economy. Some people believe that. I hold the view that trade means jobs, and that if we were to erect even the 10% minimum tariff that is on today, if that was all that remained after this, I think ultimately it would stifle American growth, limit prosperity, drive up costs for American consumers, and we ought to be driving again toward that principle of free trade with free nations and standing tough, standing firm on authoritarian regimes like China.
So you think he's wrong on tariffs?
I do think this version of tariff policy that's broad-based, indiscriminate, applies tariffs to friend and foe alike, is not a win for the American people.
Listen, bro, it's okay. You don't have to stop and reframe the upcoming criticism in terms to lessen the blow to his fragile ego by saying things like, some people agree with his historic belief that some Americans tend to sometimes in stages believe in tariffs on other countries that aren't America because they're in foreign lands that aren't necessarily but sometimes useful. Bro, stop. What are these cowards so afraid of? He already told his mob to murder you for not agreeing to do what his band of cabinet criminals are now willing to do for him. He hates you already, so just spit it out.
Do you worry, though, that the tariffs he's putting in place could potentially lead the U.S. into a recession?
Well, let me back up for a second and say that I really do believe that President Trump's historic re-election last year was in many respects not just a reflection of a personality, but it was also that what I heard all over the country is that people wanted to get back to the policies of our administration. In addition to strong American leadership on the world stage, which we can get into in a minute, it also was that we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy. But we also used targeted tariffs, particularly against China, after decades of trade abuses and intellectual property theft. We brought China to the table and achieved that 2020 Phase 1 trade deal that was truly historic and was a beginning of changing the dynamic of our relationship with China.
Nobody needs you to take a step back to 8 years ago to answer a question about what he's doing right now. The question was about the potential recession due to his current policies without bland guardrails like you.
So now as I see this administration, I do have concerns that with the president's call for broad-based tariffs against friend and foe alike, that ultimately the administration is advancing policies that are not targeted at countries that have been abusing our trade relationship, but rather are essentially new industrial policy that will result in inflation, that will harm consumers and ultimately harm the American economy. So again, I want to be clear, when it comes to China, when it comes to decades of trade abuses, my view always is free trade with free nations, that we ought to be engaging our trading partners across the free world to lower trade barriers, lower lower non-tariff barriers and subsidies. But when it comes to authoritarian regimes, we ought to get tough, stay tough, and demand that they open their markets and respect our intellectual property.
People listening probably barely even realize that he disagrees because he ended up muting his point by surrounding it with reverence for Trump's historically bad policies. It leaves Trump voting business owners that continue to be suckered by him with no coherent reason to abandon his simple message of, trust me until your business goes under.
President Trump, as a longtime supporter of your mission and to make America great again, I want to be a part of that with you. But we e-commerce companies all across the United States, we need more time. Give us a 90-day off-ramp to get off of our China goods and just tell us the plan. If you tell us the plan, we can operate and we can know what to do. The hard part about everything that's happening right now is we're trying to manage our business from day to day, and that's very difficult. And a lot of small businesses, they don't have the cash flow to get through a 90-day negotiation, and it's going to devastate a lot of businesses like Cuts. You know, I'm in a group chat with $1 billion worth of small businesses, and there's several in there that are telling me, hey, Stephen, 30 days or 60 days, we might not be able to make it. There's been too many adjustments to the supply chain that are just being really devastating on our business. 145% is essentially an embargo, and by cutting off our products to be able to sell them, it's going to be really difficult. So we're with you. We want to be a part of your mission to make America great again, but we just need more time.
Listen, that guy has no idea that Trump doesn't know the first thing about supply chains or even what an embargo is. And he definitely doesn't know what it's like to face a month to a 3-month window of seeing your business go away without a bailout from their father or some foreign entity. All he heard was that Trump wants to make America great again. And if you follow his path of failure, you'll somehow be successful.
The larger point of these tariffs, as President Trump explains it, is he wants to remake the American economy so there's more manufacturing going on in the United States so that you are buying your products from Indiana and Tennessee instead of China via Mexico. Is that even possible in 2025?
Yeah, that's going to take a large investment because right now, since the 1980s, at least in the textile industry, a lot of the manufacturing went over to China and Asia, and the current infrastructure is really outdated, so the quality is just not where it used to be. And that's the big misconception. The Asian manufacturers are very, very high-tech and produce very high quality. So if it came back to the U.S., it would take a lot of infrastructure and grants like China does to American companies to bring it back into the U.S. And for the record, I'm a huge fan of that. I would love to support Trump's vision in that, but it's going to take time. And if I could say anything, if President Trump was listening, is we need more time to accomplish your agenda.
Notice his ultimate goal is to accomplish Trump's agenda, not to grow his business or to continue to operate his clothing company. MAGA supporters have it backwards and think that their job is to represent Trump rather than Trump represent them. And it'll destroy them while they wait on their knees because the Treasury Secretary keeps accidentally revealing that the amazing art of the deal talks with China still haven't gone anywhere because they can't tell the world exactly what to do.
You have said they need to de-escalate and start that process for us to get going on trade talks. Have they made any effort at this point?
I think we could see substantial progress in the coming weeks. We'll see.
So they need to make more gestures. What is it that you're looking for, and is that happening? Is there a negotiation about the negotiation?
Yeah, we'll see over the coming weeks, and we'll see what President Trump wants to accept.
Right. I mean, have they offered anything on the fentanyl, for instance, precursor ingredients?
Only what they have said publicly.